On this movie, what the script required was something that we couldn't ever capture, corral, and direct. So, for the first time, breaking the tradition of practical creepy crawlies, ILM had to provide the creepy crawlies for Crystal Skull.
What? Big damn ants, go!
The ant sequence has always been there. Ever since the very, very beginning, the very first draft, we had the ant sequence. It was even in a script for Last Crusade that was actually done about the Monkey King in Africa, which had this army getting thrown into the pit with the ants and having to eat them and all that sort of thing. So that's an old idea that sort of has managed to migrate through all of the drafts.
And here it became more animation working in conjunction with the simulation team to figure out a way of creating just crowds and crowds of ants. So again, the process begins looking at reference and then doing some animation tests to help show how these things would move. And from there we provided some basic animation cycles, just repetitive walking, stopping actions that get plugged into this sort of engine that allows hordes and hordes of ants to be created. And then on top of that, we would keyframe animate specific ants for various shots. There's a sequence where Spalko is pointing a gun at Indy and an ant crawls through over her hand and then bites her. And that individual ant would be keyframe animated. But then in a wide shot where you just see tens of thousands, they would all be handled through simulations.
The crowd system is how we control the ants. You can't animate each one by hand individually, so you assign behaviors. And the behaviors for these guys were generally head in this direction, but we added things like hesitation, and they would chase after certain characters, and they would stack on top of each other, which was something new that we did for the film. So we had some really challenging shots where ants needed to be crawling all over the characters. And for those, we would take our CG version of the character and do a match animation to what the actor did. And that match animation had to be so tight and so specific that the ants would stick exactly where we put them on the plate.
Don't move your head at all. Ah! Ah! Don't freeze. Screaming.
Got it.
Good. Go!
So this is kind of one of the main bad guys. And this is some of our early tests of being able to stream ants up and over him into his mouth. And in the end, you just end up with enough of his face to kind of recognize him throughout the entire shot.